Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. We are living full-time in an RV. Crybaby Lotus and Hammy Enzo, plus one very loud rally cat. Rally, shh! We're trying to listen for the aliens. In this 22-foot Airstream, and today we're going to go over some tips that I've picked up over the last few weeks of traveling, the last few months of living in this Airstream. If you're thinking about doing this lifestyle with pups, and while this lifestyle is new to me, I wanted to give some tips that I've already picked up on. However, as time progresses, I may update this video in the future, do like an updated version. But for now, these are some of the tips I have for traveling with pets, specifically dogs, large breed dogs. But first, this video is brought to you by me. And by me, I mean my own merch. So you can buy the beanies, the keychains, stickers, and some limited edition postcards through our Shopify store. Or you can buy things like hoodies through our spring store. Both are linked below. I would appreciate any support that anybody gives us. Somehow we found rain in the desert. How you doing back up, Pop? You doing okay? Travel days for me, I try to stay at max 4 to 5 hours. Generally, I will drive 3 hours and then take a 2-hour break. Kind of driving through the middle of nowhere, looking for some place to get out. Oh, got the ants. Good size park. Definitely worth driving 20 minutes in circles to find. See what I mean? We come back from our walk and look, there she is, just snoozing. Alright, ready to hit the road. Next stop, which allows me to give them 45 minutes of exercise, plus a good 30 plus minutes to kind of calm down, and then 15 minutes to eat, and then kind of like another 30 minutes before we hit the road again. Shepherds have stomach issues. They can have stomach flip. I've done videos on this in the past. Your dog may not have that issue, but for shepherds, it's very important. A lot of larger breeds have these type of issues. So giving them that time is super important. Then once we do that, we drive for another 1 to 2 hours, unless we're going through Texas and Amarillo, and I digress. You can watch that video. That was a disaster. It may seem silly to stop for 2 hours when you're only going to drive for another hour or two, but you have to keep in mind that when you arrive at a site, especially how we do, where we tend to boondock on BLM land or National Forest land, it takes anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, maybe more, to find a good spot, to get everything set up. It's not uncommon for me to have to park and unhitch and drive the truck. For example, when we went to Cosmic Campground. Well, at least I finally got the 4-wheel drive in the truck. Actually, I never even put it in 4-wheel. When we went to Cosmic Campground, I unhitched the Airstream and took just the truck out so we could kind of scout the area and see where the best spot was. Because of all that, and I like to keep them safe in the truck while I'm setting everything up, that's time added that to them is still kind of like in the car ride. So that's why I like to only have maybe an hour or two to drive after that break. Tip 2, and this is like the day-to-day type of stuff. First, I like to have plenty of food. Dogs don't do well with a drastic change in diet. So I like to make sure that I have several weeks worth of food on hand at all times. That way, if I have a pretty limited selection, go into a city where I expect to pick up food for them and they don't have it, it's sold out, whatever, I have options. You know, it's not a big deal. It's not going to ruin their digestive tract or anything, because trust me, with shepherds, you don't want to do that. In addition to extra food, extra leashes, extra bowls, extra collars. You don't want to be out here. Today, we are outside of Silverton, New Mexico. But, for example, last week we were in Cosmic Campground, which was 1.5 to 2 hours from any type of civilization. So to have a collar or leash or a bowl or something break, that would be ridiculous. In addition to that, I like to have lots of terry towels, which is what I used to give their wipe downs. I also carry lots of diaper wipes in case I run out of terry towels, and diaper wipes are just handy. To use with the terry towels, I have a collapsible bucket, which is great because I can leave it in the bathroom sink and I don't have to worry about it spilling. And being a dusty environment, if you're going to be traveling in dusty environments like the Southwest, like I am, a blow dryer is helpful. And I don't mean like your hair blow dryer. I have a couple actual, like a leaf blower, and I have like a car blower. You could use a hair dryer, I suppose, but these are a little bit more powerful and a little bit more isolated, and I can kind of blow out all their fur and get the dust out and makes it a whole lot easier. Keep in mind, if you're in some dusty areas, you may need to get like a damp rag and kind of wipe them and stuff, because otherwise you'll build up electric shock and it's not good for anybody. Tip number 3, errands. So when I have to go to the store to buy food or go to the bank or whatever, it doesn't matter. This is truly when RV parks shine. Now, we've been living this lifestyle since January, but we've only been traveling for a few weeks. We've stayed at a full type hookup RV park once. We've stayed at a partial hookup site another time. This is really when that can come in handy, because I can unhitch, I know that they're safe, I can keep an eye on them, I have cameras, and then I can run my errands. Check on Enzo and Riley, they're just chilling. If I don't have that option, for example, like when we were in Albuquerque, dealing with that disaster, which I don't think I've uploaded that video yet by the time this video goes live, so you can watch for that video. Albuquerque was a complete disaster. If I don't have the option to leave them safe somewhere where I feel safe in the Airstream, then it's a matter of going early in the day or late at night to where the temperatures are favorable, parking in the shade. I know one time I went to a Walmart and it was midday, but I really just needed to go in and grab a few things. So I literally went and parked on the side of the building where there was no parking, and then went and told the employees, like, hey, I know there's no parking, but I have a dog in the car. I need them to be in the shade. They were fine with it. I was in there for 10, 15 minutes tops. Kind of got to be cognizant of that sort of stuff. If you've been following along, you know we occasionally sleep at Walmart parking lots if we're traveling and there's no sites around. This is the perfect time to go shopping because they generally open early, like 7 in the morning. Go in there first thing. All the shelves are stocked. The lines aren't long. That's a great time to get your shopping done. Tip number 4, safety. Anytime we're out and about, going on hikes or anything like that, I always have a first aid kit with me. I also always carry slings that are, for each of them, that are strong enough that I could actually put Enzo or Lotus on my back and carry them if need be. I've also learned to stay unhitched. That way, if if something was to happen and time is of the essence, I will just throw them and Rally in the truck and we'll take off, because I can drive a whole lot faster without towing an Airstream. I don't necessarily feel safe leaving the Airstream like that, but at the same time, I've got insurance on the Airstream, whatever. Hopefully it's there when I come back, but if not, that's for insurance to contend with. My primary concern is getting them the emergency care that they need. All right, we are loaded up. I gave serious thought to leaving the Airstream here. However, I broke my rule and I didn't scout a vet beforehand. It's the first time. It wasn't intentional, I didn't expect to lose service. For all intents and purposes, an hour before our destination or more. Know where vets are long before you arrive. This is a mistake I made going to Cosmic Campground. Prior to that, I always checked where vets were gonna be. I even go as far as to drive past them, maybe even call them, just confirm that they're functioning, make sure Google's not out of date, stuff like that. Do this well in advance, because when we went to Cosmic Campground, I didn't realize I was going to lose cell phone service 100 miles before we got there. I thought, okay, maybe once we get up to the top, we might lose service. So when we get close, I may need to pull over and research and stuff. No, I lost service hours before we got there. So always have that plan ahead of time so that in the event of an emergency, where you're going. Like I said, ideally drive there before you go to your campsite, so that way you're not even really having to rely on Google. You kind of know where you're going already. Those precious seconds can make all the difference in the world. If you think you might be somewhere kind of without service, you can always download Google Maps. That would be helpful. Also, I always keep flea and tick spray and spray them before we go out. I don't like to give them flea and tick preventatives. There's a lot of issues with those that we're not going to go into in this video. I've gone into in other videos. So I use Wonderless flea and tick spray. I'll link it down in the Amazon store below if you want to check that out. But I spray that on them before we go on any hikes. And lastly, I keep all of their vet records downloaded onto my phone. Not just like in my email, because what if you're in a place where the service isn't so great? Keep them downloaded so you can pull them up and show them or tell them to the vet. That way they know what their past medical records are. To summarize, I know this video has been kind of quick. I did this for a very specific purpose, and that is as we're on the road, it's kind of harder to upload videos. So the shorter videos are a little bit easier to upload. Also, I wanted to get as many tips as possible into this video for those of you who are thinking about this lifestyle, thinking about maybe doing full or part-time RV life. You can rent RVs and kind of test it out. I didn't do that. I kind of just jumped right in. But you can rent them and test it out. For those of you who may be watching who's done this life longer than I have, if you've got any tips, or even if you haven't done this life, by all means, comment below, leave them below. I'd love to hear them. Maybe I can include them in the next video. I'm always open to new ideas and suggestions. And lastly, I want to thank all the Patreons that support us each and every month with their donations. They are literally helping us live the life that we want to live, that we can go anywhere, do anything, and share that with you all who watch and subscribe and like and share the videos. It means so much to me. I appreciate you all. Good night.